Hey everybody, Kenny E here, Black Iron Tri, and welcome to another episode of Fearless Fridays. Today we're going to cover race day nutrition, what I'm actually taking in for fuel and hydration during a race. I got a question from one of the viewers. They noticed I run 4 bottles on my bike and had questions as to what are in those bottles, how are they arranged, how do I actually access them during the race, and what have you. So, without further ado, why don't we get into it. So to kick off, it's important you understand that learning what to take in on a race is a learned process. There are recommendations you can get from all over the place. Your coaches can recommend, you can watch videos on it. The reality is you need to practice your nutrition. I've been doing triathlon now for going on what, 8 years? And I'm just now getting my nutrition dialed in to where I think I've got it figured out. There's a lot of stuff to take into consideration, not the least of which is on-course nutrition. What is the race providing, and how often will you actually need to access that? My goal was to get to a point where I needed to depend on-course nutrition very little, at least in the bike. The run's a little different story because you can't carry much with you, and then you got a refreshing station coming every mile or so. So the bike's different. You're going 20 miles or so between aid stations, and frankly, you need to be replenishing your hydration and fueling a lot more frequently than every 20 miles, unless you're going like 60 miles an hour, which you won't be. So the idea is to have enough nutrition on board, and the first thing you have to figure out is how much do you need for the race, and a good metric is per hour. So the reality is you're going to talk in either grams of carbohydrates or calories. And that is the thing, that your fueling is going to be primarily carbohydrates because that's what you're burning when you're at that active of a pace in a race. So you've probably heard this a million times that you want to replenish your carbs, which is essentially sugars on the ride and the run. And so your fuel is going to be mostly made of sugars, but hopefully some kind of combination of different sugars. And again, this is something you have to work out. I'm going to tell you what I use and explain a little bit about how they're built up. But one thing that can mislead you is watching what the pros do. Again, I am an amateur triathlete. I am not a pro. I don't train at the level that they do. It's not my dependency for my livelihood. But at one point, the idea of taking in 80 grams per hour was a big deal. That was like a lot of calories. As time has moved on, these most recent pro athletes are taking on well over 100 grams of calories, 100 grams of carbs per hour. I think Christian Blumenfeld, for example, I think he's somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 grams of carbs per hour. And what it sounds like to me is that the limit on how many you take in is a function of how well your stomach can handle it. I keep hearing about all of these athletes who are having stomach problems on races, including and maybe even especially pros. And I think part of it is that they're trying to get in as many calories as possible. You cannot replace all of the calories you're burning during a race. That's been kind of settled. All you're trying to do is to slow down or kind of tap off how much you're losing on a per hour basis. At 200 grams, that's a lot of sugar to be taken in. You need to be burning quite a bit. And the folks who are having stomach problems are probably trying to either take in too much nutrition or taking in new nutrition. Again, we talked about nothing new on race day. That's why it's important to practice with the nutrition that you plan to use during the race. So over this past season, or past couple of seasons, I've been kind of pushing the 100 grams per hour level is where I'm trying to get to, or where I was trying to get to. And I would do that on my longer rides. I have several videos up. You guys are welcome to check those out, where I've done, 3.5 and 4 hour rides. And I actually had to time my cycling because I was by myself to, go an hour out and an hour back, because my 4 bottles that I carry on my bike will only sustain me for 2 hours. I need to re-up after that. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But on those bikes, 2 of those bottles have carbs in them. The other very important thing about how you fuel is hydration. And we've covered this before, but just to touch on it again, I am a heavy sweater. I sweat a lot. Now, I went and had a test done by a company called Precision. I actually have some of their product here, and we'll talk about that in a second. I actually had a formal test done, a sweat test, and they informed me that I'm a light salt sweater. Like, there's not a lot of salt in my sweat. And initially I took that as, so I don't need a lot of sodium on my ride. Until I did the math and realized that, yeah, you're a light salter, but when it comes to how much you're sweating, you're losing a lot of salt. I was cramping up on almost every 70.3 or full Ironman on the bike or right after I got off the bike. And it turns out I just wasn't taking in enough sodium. I was using maybe 1 or 2 Nun tablets. Nun is a great a hydration tablet, but it only contains about 20 grams of sodium, 20 milligrams, I should say. And I need to be somewhere in the 1,000 to 1,500 milligram range per liter of liquid that I'm taking in, or per hour, because I try to take in a bottle, a 24-ounce bottle of water or liquid with sodium in it per hour. So we're going to talk about carb fueling, and we're going to talk about sodium or hydration fueling. Both are critically important to your race. So in my search for the right kind of carbs to take in, I have happened upon this SIS, and this you find out different things. You try different things based on advertisement. You try different things when you go to races, and they have different fueling options for you there. Test things out. Test them out on your rides, on your practicing. See what sits well. See what gives you enough energy to finish your training strong. And this has really hit home for me. So now I'm at the 100 to 120 gram per hour level. 100 usually does it for me in training. I'll explain the extra 20 in a second. Each one of these packets, this is Science in Sport Beta Fuel, contains 80 grams of carbs. They claim a 1 to 0.8 ratio of maltodextrin to fructose sugars in here. Again, am I saying that right? Maltodextrin and fructose. Again, those you can see all kinds of different opinions on the ratios and what have you. This mix has worked for me. So this is 80 grams, and I will put that in 1 bottle. But I also, to get to 100 grams, I will add 1 scoop of Gatorade Endurance. And this is not the normal Gatorade that you buy at the gas station on a road trip. The Gatorade Endurance is a special formula, and it contains 1 scoop of it contains 22 grams of carbs. So I will put in a food bottle, in a nutrition bottle, where I got my carbs. I'll have a packet of SIS Beta Fuel, 80 grams, as well as a scoop of Gatorade Endurance. That gets me to 100 grams of carbs in each bottle. And I will carry, at an Ironman, I will fill 4 of those the night before the race. 2 of them go on the bike. And forgive me, because normally these are much better color coded, but as we talked about in the race recap and other videos, you lose these bottles during the race, because either they get traded off when you do your personal needs bag at the halfway mark, or you get stung by a yellow jacket and drop the dang on thing. So bottles get lost. So I usually carry 4 of these in some kind of color. I don't know, hopefully you can see that. There's a colored background in there. That lets me know that's a nutrition bottle. And then I carry my hydration, which is liquid and sodium, in a less colorful bottle, so black and white or whatever. But I lost a few of those during the race. I haven't replaced them yet, so bear with me. So I will fill 4 bottles, or I'm sorry, I'll fill 2 of these bottles with the SIS fuel. Let me correct that, because the other thing I do is on the other 2 bottles, I will switch over to heat. Now this is newer for me, but when I was riding in Chicago, I recently, back in September, I swam the Chicago River, and afterwards did a bike ride in the city. I didn't have any real bike ride or any kind of carbs with me on this trip, but my hosts had some, and they had this Hammer Heed, and I took a bottle of that with me, and I felt great. I'm like, I'm gonna start using this stuff. So I found it was good for later in the day, and just based on when I tested it, when I used it, and I've tested it since then on practice rides, it's good as a secondary, as my late carbs on the bike. So what I actually do is I fill 2 nutrition bottles with the SIS Beta and Gatorade for 100 grams, and then I fill 2 other bottles with 3 scoops of heat, and each one of these contains, 28 grams of carbs. So times 3 of these is 84 grams of this, and a scoop of Gatorade. So now I've got in the neighborhood of 100 grams in each one of these bottles, 100 grams of carbs. In addition, I also try to carry a couple of gels with me. Generally, gels are about 20 grams of carbs each. There's GU, Hammer, and when I bought this Heat, they sent me a bunch of free stuff to try out. This is pretty decent. I've usually been a GU guy most of my cycling and triathlon life. And then there's these Honey Stingers. They make a great waffle, so I thought I'd give their gels a try. They're pretty good. I prefer the honey flavored over the fruit smoothie, but I decided to try them both. But in general, those are 20. I keep those as just as a backup. I have them in the back of my kit, and if I'm feeling at all peaked during the race, I'll do one of those. Now, side note, you may have heard this before. If you're hungry, or you get hungry, or you get thirsty during your racing, you've waited too long to take in nutrition. That is real. You should not be getting hungry, and you should not be feeling thirsty on the ride. You should stay ahead of that, because catching back up is nearly impossible. So in terms of hydration, this is precision hydration. I believe they have 3 different levels. You see this is labeled 1500. Again, this is the company I went to actually have my sweat tested, to see how much I sweat per hour and how much salt I'm losing in that sweat. I got to give them credit for a little creative marketing here. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so everything I'm telling you is straight from my own experience. It says 1500 on here, which may lead you to believe that there's 1500 milligrams of sodium in each of these tablets, and it's not. It's half of that. So their brand, or their version that says 500 on it, each tablet has 250 milligrams of sodium. In their brand, it says 1000. Each tablet has 500. And in this version, 1500, each tablet has 750 milligrams of sodium, which is fine. As long as I know that, I can adjust accordingly. At one point, I was using maybe one of these tablets with 750 and trying to get to 1000 milligrams of sodium using either supplementing with salt stick tablets, or I'd actually open the tablet and dump them in, or pickle juice. Both of those have, somewhere in the range. I'll take a look. This salt stick claims to have 215 milligrams of sodium. So with 750 and 215, I'm getting at the 965 range, I believe that is. And then the pickle juice, I can barely read this one just because I'm old, but something similar, about 200 milligrams of sodium. What I found is that this is a waste of time for me. So I stopped trying to supplement this, and I just do 2 tablets. I'm not hurting myself. Given how I cramp, if I don't have enough sodium and hydration, I do 2 tablets. I do 1,500 milligrams of sodium in each bottle. And as I mentioned before, I try to get down a bottle of hydration and a bottle of carbs per hour. So with that, I'm taking in 100 grams of carbs and 1,500 milligrams of sodium. Now, this worked great on my training, but where it really got tested was during the race, and it was flawless. It worked out great, and by flawless, I mean, the less that happens bad, the better. I had no cramping on the ride. None when I got off the bike. I felt the best I ever felt getting off that bike. This is why I feel like I'm really close, if not on point, with dialing in where I need to be nutrition-wise. So that's it. I fill all 4 of these bottles with the same thing. All of them get 1,500 milligrams of sodium. So one thing to keep in mind is these are the nutrition bottles that I fill up the night before the race, right? And we take all of these with us to transition. 2 of these bottles, 2 of the nutrition bottles and 2 of the hydration bottles are gonna go in my personal needs bag for the bike. This is blue, just like the one that's in the race, but they don't give you this. It's a plastic bag in the US. I did note, as a side note, I was watching a European race and they were using mesh bags, which looked very cool. They were red and blue mesh bags for the ride, for the bike and the run. And then, the personal needs bags. Very cool. Not sure why that's different in the US. My partner in crime suggests that the Europeans seem to care more about the environment than we do here in the US. I cannot argue with that line of thinking. But that said, you have your plastic personal needs bag. 2 of each of these go into that bag. So at the halfway point on the bike, 56 miles, you get to stop and switch things out. So at that point, I should be switching out both of my nutrition bottles, both my carb bottles and my water bottles. Now, keep in mind, 56 miles for me is more than 2 hours, right? To get to 56 miles in 2 hours, you have to be averaging 28 miles an hour, which I'm not doing. What does that mean? That means that more than likely somewhere along the course, I am taking in on-course nutrition. So at 1 or 2 of the aid stations, I will switch out one of my carb bottles for whatever they are serving or providing on the course for calories. That gets me to my personal needs bag, and I do the same thing on the second loop. I'm not averaging 28 miles. The pros are averaging 28 miles an hour, so they can get away with that. But I'm not averaging 28 miles an hour, so I need to have enough fuel to last me 2.5 to 3 hours, right? And so I'll know what's on. They always tell you what they're serving on the course, what they will have on the course for nutrition. They always have some kind of carb to take in. Make sure that you have some experience with the on-course nutrition before the race day. You don't want surprises like that. They let you know ahead of time, so take advantage of that. In fact, I just got an email that IRONMAN is switching to Precision for their sodium hydration on course, which is great for me because it's what I use normally. They used to have Gatorade on the course, and I'm drawing a blank. I'll throw it up here on the screen what they're doing now. It's a different brand, one I'm not really fond of, but I tested it and it doesn't do me bad. So I get the calories I need to finish up that loop and both loops because what I carry isn't quite enough. So one more thing I'll point out before I show bottle management on the bike is I still do put a pickle juice and a hot shot, at least one of each, in my personal needs bag. Why is that? That's because they are emergency fixers for cramps, theoretically. I found out that in reading that they really don't do anything to your muscles, so to speak. The pickle juice is supposed to add sodium, an instant shot of sodium. Hot shot tastes like cinnamon. It almost burns. And it actually works more like I found out aspirin and things you take for painkillers. They don't actually attack the pain. They attack your brain center. They redirect your brain's attention from the cramp to the stuff that just entered your mouth. And that is how it's supposedly supposed to relieve you of the cramps. I'll be honest with you, I have not had the best of luck in relieving cramps on really bad situations, but they don't hurt. So I do carry them, and I hope I never have to use them again. On this last race, I did not have to use them. The hot shots that were in my personal needs bag are gone away forever. So, we've got our nutrition bottles all filled up and ready to rock and roll. On race morning, the personal needs bags, in this case, the bike bags get lined up against a fence for us to get to after the swim, and we equip our bikes while they're still racked in transition. So I do have a very specific order in which I keep everything. I put one nutrition bottle on the down tube. On the down tube, and one hydration bottle on the seat tube. This is so I don't even have to think about which is which. My nutrition bottle's on the front, my hydration bottle's on the back. As far as what's behind me, I keep a nutrition bottle on my left, a carbs bottle, and my hydration bottle on my right. And as I get done with these after the first hour, I switch them out. Hopefully they're close together. You know, the idea being I'm trying to get this done as quickly as possible while moving. So I will take out my nutrition bottle and hold it. I'll even switch it if I have to, depending on which hands I grab the other one. I'm still riding. Stick it in, and because we practice while we're training, I don't have to look back there. I can feel for where that goes and slide it in. Now, I consider myself very fortunate in that the holders that I have are really tight. I see people losing, I even hear about pros ejecting their bottles or hitting a bump. I don't have that problem often, if at all. And I hit some bumps on the Silver Comet Trail and other places I ride, but I've been very fortunate in races and what have you. I don't lose bottles because of that. I did lose a bottle in this last race while I was getting nutrition. That's when the yellow jacket or whatever stung me, and out of the pain and surprise, I went to hit it or something, the bottle was gone. After checking behind me to make sure no one was interfered with or hurt, I kept going. Fortunately, I did not get seen by an official, because that would have been a penalty, whether it would have been intentional or unintentional. It was unintentional. I had no intention, but I also had no intention of trying to turn back in the middle of a race to pick up a bottle. The most devastating thing about losing a bottle like that is you lose that nutrition, and that can be harmful later on down the line. I was more than halfway done with that bottle when I lost it, maybe even close to finished with it. I was 18 miles into the ride, so I was probably close to done with that bottle. That said, you try not to lose these things on the road. One thing I will note about the hydration bottles is I remove this hook thing from the hydration bottles. Why do I do that? Because when this is in here, and as I'm riding, I'm not necessarily twisting it or turning it, that little thing will touch my leg every rotation if it's not properly and perfectly positioned, which it never is. And for some reason that irritates the hell out of me. I cannot concentrate on riding having that little thing touching my leg every time. So I just remove them right before I put them on the bike, and I don't have that problem. Only the hydration bottles, because they're the only ones that go back here. I don't have that problem with the front bottle. So that's how I switch them out. And after 2 hours, when the next aid station I see is I'm empty or getting close to it, I will pull over. I pull over most of the time. Some people try to do it on the fly. I've done that, but you should definitely slow way, way down. People are trying to grab it like they're in the Tour de France. or something like that, that's a problem. That is going to be a problem for sure, because we are not pros. If you're riding with me, if you're in my group, you're not a pro. Slow down or stop and get your nutrition properly. You're not going to win or lose the race because you stopped and got your nutrition and exchanged your bottles properly. What I will do is, once I'm in the trash zone, they have zones before, during, and after an aid station. I will take the bottle, the empty bottle, and if I'm done with it, I'll throw it off to the side. So it's one less thing I have to do when I slow down or stop to get my nutrition. The bottle that's empty is gone already. I'll throw that off to the side. They take care of that. I get the new one, slap it in. But slow down, please. Slow down or stop. Do not try to fly through those aid stations. That's where people get hurt. Very serious talk there. All right. So that's it in a nutshell. So that kind of covers it for on-course nutrition for me, especially on the bike. Again, you don't really get to eat during the swim. So they tell you, get a few carbs in, maybe a gel right before you get in the water. And if you're lucky enough, like me, with my Pro Coach kit that I wear, there's a pocket back there that'll hold a gel for me during the swim, especially if you got a wetsuit on, it holds it right in place. And I can grab that as I get out of the water after having been swimming for an hour plus. But in general, nutrition during the swim doesn't happen. On the bike, I go through at least 8 bottles plus a couple of bottles off the aid stations. I have emergency gels in my kit if I need them. And then running, it's basically the aid stations. I will carry a couple of things that I'm familiar with on me. Some people wear race belts and they carry liquids and other things that they need. I am quite happy with what's on the course. My favorite part is in the later half of the race. I get to start drinking Coca-Cola. It's pretty flat, but it's like nirvana. Trust me, when you've been out there working that long. But they have enough goodies, enough nutrition, and certainly enough hydration during these races that I can count on the aid stations to take care of me. So that's it for race nutrition. I hope this was helpful. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. In the meantime, this is Kenny E signing off, reminding you, you don't have to be fastest, just be fearless.
No, I ain't giving you up. Get over, try to give you up. No.